Welcome to the Veneration Game, where we see which obscure medieval saint has what it takes to achieve lasting fame. We're joined by our historical advisor, Catherine. There are quite literally thousands of medieval saints in existence, so we'll be focusing on the ones from Northumbria, the kingdom which spanned northern England and southern Scotland between the 7th and the 10th centuries. There are many famous saints from this period. You might have heard of Hilda of Whitby or Cuthbert of Lindisfarne, but they're quite famous and tend to get all of the attention. We'll be giving the lesser-known ones a chance. But first, how did one actually become a medieval saint? It was quite simple, really. If a religious community felt that you were significant in some way, they could declare you as a saint. Your tomb would become a shrine, any surviving bones would become relics, and if you were fortunate enough to have your life recorded by a chronicler, your story would be preserved for generations. It wasn't until fairly recently that there was a formal process of canonization, which is why there's thousands of obscure local saints of whom very little is known. Thank you. Hopefully we'll know at least something about today's contestants. Speaking of which, please give a big Veneration Game welcome to Saint Alkelda.
Is her holy death her whole fame?
Drithelm.
He's seen heaven, hell, and everything in between.
Herbert of Derwentwater.
Let's see how far you can go sitting on an island all day.
Eadfrith.
Can his medieval bestseller take him to the top?
Ostrith.
Does the Queen of Mercia have saintly inertia?
And finally, Willibrord. I'm sorry, what? Willibrord?
Not to be confused with last week's runner-up, Willihad.
Really? Willihad and Willibrord? Anyway, we'll get to know these saints as time goes on. Same rules as every week. There are 5 categories which you will be judged on for sainthood: martyrdom, miracles, patronage, legend, and overall significance. You get 10 points for each category, and the saint with the most points wins. Got that? All right, my loves, let's get on with the show. Our first round is martyrdom. Historical advisor, why was martyrdom important? You didn't have to be a martyr to be a saint, but it certainly did help. To die for your faith was seen as the ultimate sacrifice, especially if you were killed by a pagan. Some of the biggest saints of the era, Edmund the Martyr or Oswald of Northumbria, became famous precisely because they died at the hands of heathens. Settle down, settle down. Right, how many of our contestants fall into this category? Anglo-Saxon martyrs are a lot rarer than you might think. Only 2 of our contestants today were actually murdered, Alkelda and Ostrith. Alkelda, what happened to you? According to tradition, I was a Saxon princess who lived in a nunnery near Midlam, North Yorkshire. In about 800 AD, I was strangled by Viking women. Wow, a potential 10 points! Verification, please, Kath! The lives of saints were often prone to exaggeration or outright fabrication. Some have claimed that Alkelda never really existed, that her name is Old English for holy well, but this has been widely criticised. The earliest surviving reference to her is from 1389, in a document which granted Midlam an annual fair in her honour. The story about her death is harder to substantiate, but a nun being killed by Vikings is not exactly unrealistic. It happened quite a lot back then. Thank you, that's 10 points for Alkelda. Ostrith? I was Queen of Mercia, married to King Aethelred of Mercia, the son of King Penda of Mercia. You may have heard of him. In 697, I was murdered by Mercian nobles. Oh no! Any idea why? No, the Venerable Bede didn't say. Murder or martyr?
Matter.
What do we think?
Matter.
It's verification time. Ostrith goes through. For medieval saints, it sometimes didn't matter how or why you died. being holy and dead was enough. Osthryth was part of the complex blood feud between the Northumbrians and the Mercians. Osthryth was the daughter of the Northumbrian king Oswiu. Her uncle was King Oswald, who was killed in battle in 642 by the pagan King Penda of Mercia. Oswald's death at the hands of a pagan led to him quickly being recognised as a saint, and a large cult developed around him. Osthryth even moved Oswald's bones to her favourite abbey at Bardney, Lincolnshire. Her marriage to the son of the man who killed her uncle was probably an effort to bring the feud to an end, but it didn't really work, as her brother would die in battle against her husband. It's all getting rather complicated. Anyway, I'm persuaded. 10 points! There's no more martyrs in tonight's lineup, so at the end of round 1, this is a heavenly hierarchy. Alkelda and Osthryth share 10 points each, and what do points make? Heavenly prizes! The next round is miracles. Catherine, please tell us why miracles were so important. Miracles were the main way of demonstrating the power of God through the life of a saint. If a saint had healed someone whilst alive, they could also do it whilst dead, and their tombs became shrines where people would visit in hopes of miraculous healing. Who has miracles associated with them, either in this life or the next? Willibrord? I was fortunate enough to have my life recorded by Alcuin of York, who wrote that I performed many miracles, including refilling empty wine casks. Always good at parties. 10 points. Eadfrith? You may have heard of the Lindisfarne Gospels, only the finest work in Anglo-Saxon and Celtic art. Well, I made it. Anyway, when I died and was buried, my relics accompanied St. Cuthbert on his journey across the north to escape from marauding Vikings, and the Lindisfarne Gospels fell into the Irish Sea, but miraculously they washed up 3 days later and were perfectly preserved. That counts. 10 points. Alkelda? I'm not sure if it really counts, but I've a couple of holy wells recorded in the local area. Good enough for me. 10 points. As for the rest of you, should have got better hagiographers. At the end of round 2, this is the heavenly hierarchy. Round 3 is patronage. Historical advisor, what is patronage? Patronage is how saints survived. It meant having places or churches named after you, or local traditions in your honour. It was an official recognition of your status as a saint. Alkelda? In 1478, the future Richard III granted a licence for a church in Middleham, partially in my honour. There's also one in Giggleswick as well. Excellent. 10 points. Willibrord? My official title is Bishop of Utrecht, as I was missionary to the Frisians, the area of what is now the Netherlands and northern Germany. So I have lots of churches there. In addition, every year at Echternach in Luxembourg, where I am buried, they have a special dancing procession in my honour which attracts thousands. I also happen to be the patron saint of Luxembourg and the Netherlands. Whoa, bit of a celebrity in our hands here. But hang on. If you're so important in the Netherlands, why are you a Northumbrian saint? Kath, verify him. Willibrord was part of a group of missionary saints. He was born in Northumbria and educated at Ripon. His father was a hermit who lived on the River Humber. The north of England, with sites like York, Durham and Lindisfarne, was a centre of religious education at the time. Together with Iona in northern Scotland and the countless monasteries across Ireland, missionaries would be trained up and sent out to the rest of Europe. So although saints like Willibrord spent most of their life outside Northumbria, they're still classed as Northumbrian saints because that's where they were born, educated and sent out from. Willibrord also manages to have a church in Manchester, so there's at least some local support. Wow, today Northumbria, tomorrow the world. 10 points. Herbert? I was a hermit who lived on a small island on Lake Derwentwater in Cumbria. The island is still named St Herbert's Island in my honour, and every year there's a special service there. In recent decades, the island has become a pilgrimage spot, and I have churches in Cumbria, County Durham, Greater Manchester, and I've even been featured in a poem by William Wordsworth. Wow, not bad for a simple hermit. 10 points. As for the rest of you, you may have been important, but you didn't really develop a following, and that's what matters. At the end of round 3, this is the heavenly hierarchy. Let's move on to round 4, legend. We're looking for the saints with the best stories. Historical advisor? The legend of a saint is called a hagiography, and it was usually embellished to make a saint appear holier. Fascinating. Alkelda, did you have an interesting life? The only thing that's really known about me is my death, to be honest. Oh, that's a shame. No points. Drithelm? I was just a normal family man living in the Scottish borders. Then in 700 AD, I died and came back to life again. Excellent. We're big on resurrection here. I had a great vision of the afterlife. In purgatory, the souls were trapped between extreme cold and extreme heat. In hell, there were burning fires and a wailing and a gnashing of teeth. Were the teeth provided? Sorry, Dave Allen joke. The older ones might get it. Carry on. Then I saw a great light and the souls in heaven, in paradise. When I returned, I gave away all my wealth. Then I became a monk at Melrose Abbey, where I died and was buried. Wow, that's certainly unusual. 10 points. Eadfrith? Apart from making the Lindisfarne Gospels, I was Bishop of Lindisfarne, but that's about it. Although your legend isn't that action-packed, I think it's significant that you're recorded as a creator of the Lindisfarne Gospels. Historical advisor? Yes, the idea of the artist getting individually recognised for their work didn't really exist back then. Medieval artists are largely unknown to us. Part of this is because, especially for religious art, it wasn't about your individual artistic identity. Your art was your gift to God. So it's extremely unusual that we have a record of who actually made the 8th century Lindisfarne Gospels, and we only know this because within the pages themselves are recorded the names of 4 individuals: Eadfrith, who wrote it, Ethelwald, who bound it together, and Bilfrith, who created the jewels and metalwork. Wow, that's fascinating. 10 points. Willibrord? As you know, I was missionary to Frisia, first Bishop of Utrecht, and founded lots of churches. I had some Dutch shampoo conditioner once. It stopped my hair from getting Frisia. Anyway, as interesting as your life was, evangelising and building churches is pretty standard saintly stuff. It's what saints do. But because your life is recorded in detail, I do have to give you 10 points. Herbert? As a hermit on my island, I was good friends with St Cuthbert of Lindisfarne and visited him regularly. One day, Cuthbert prophesied that we would both die on the same day. And we did, the 20th of March, 687. Is that it?
Boo.
Hey, my game, my rules. He didn't do anything. I'm not giving him points for that. Osrith? Like Alkelda, not much is really known about me. I'm only famous for being the murdered wife of a king. Oh, isn't that a shame? Anyway, at the end of round 4, here is the hierarchy. It's time now for the final round. And this is about the saints' overall significance. We'll be looking for the saint which has made the biggest overall contribution to history. And for this round, the judging will be done by our historical advisor. Alkelda. Very little is known about you, and to be honest, you might not have existed at all, so you're only of local interest. No points.
No more points for Alkelda. She's sure to be overtaken now.
Drythelm. You're extremely interesting because you illustrate what people thought the afterlife was like. Your vision was recorded by the Venerable Bede, and so it's the earliest account of its type in English literature. You're really a sort of English Dante. 10 points.
That puts Drythelm in joint second place.
Herbert of Derwentwater. You're quite interesting because, despite being a minor saint of whom very little is known, you've managed to build up quite a significant local tradition, which really illustrates the importance of obscure local saints in the community. 10 points.
It's neck and neck for second place now.
Osrith. You're an extremely obscure figure. We don't know anything about you other than the fact that you were the murdered wife of a king. And to be honest, I think you've been crowbarred in as a saint. You didn't even do anything holy. No points.
Osrith will stay in last place.
Eadfrith. You're extremely important in creating, only one of the most significant works in medieval art and literature. Absolutely 10 points, of course.
It's now a three-way tie for the winner.
The decider, Willibrord. I know you're more famous in the Netherlands than over here, but we're judging by your overall contribution to history, and I can't deny your status as a missionary to the Frisians. So, I've got to give you 10 points. So there we have it! Willibrord is the winner, but it's still a tie for second and third place. Kath! Out of Alkelda and Eadfrith, well, Eadfrith is obviously the more significant, so an extra 5 points from me.
And that's it. The Holy Hierarchy now has Willibrord in first place, Eadfrith in second, and Alkelda in third.
Thank you to all our contestants and thank you to our audience. You've been so much better than last week. And from all of us here, and I really do mean everyone, thank you. Nice to see you nice.
Life is the name of the game, and I want to play the game with you. Life can be terribly tame if you don't play the game with two. And I want to play the game with you.